now, because when I was coming to this ceremony with my parents, my little brother and the sister, someone was approached to me and offered some internship in one of the world biggest chemical companies, and this will get hand on my no, we get some hands-on experience in before starting DHD program in the fall. To get a DHD in chemistry is the next step in my career, to become the real scientist. And if I am succeed in this, I succeed in this career, the huge part or in this success will be, of course, thanks to this university, all professors and people, amazing people I have met over these few years, over the past few years. And I was very surprised when I was asked to deliver a speech, to deliver a graduation speech, because I haven't been a big speaker, and I haven't been a straight A student either. Actually, I missed a lot of classes, especially during my freshman year, and I fell behind, and I struggled to catch up with my classes, but there was very difficult for me. I couldn't used to a college setting first, and there was a lot of parties, fun parties, and many events, social events, and so I have to. When I fell behind, I had to had to give up partying, and I took private classes, and this really helped me to keep up with my coursework. And then, as I was on the edge of being expelled from the university, I made a tiny mistake in my calculations, and there was explosion, and the explosion made a huge hole in the wall of the lab, and I was told off by the administration supervisor for being a troublemaker, and I was very criticized in a newspaper piece for putting putting students' lives in danger. And after that I lost interest in chemical experiment for a while. In fact, I'm not much of a learner. I am a practical guy. I like to experiment very much, and I like to see how the elements interact with one another, and what happen if you add sodium to acid, and things like that. And when I had a fire in a lab, I was almost kicked out of the university, and I never heard our professor yelled at a student so fiercely. And taking exams, and tests was not very the pleasure time for me at all. And but I successfully passed all the tests and exams with no much effort. And while the students were buried in their course books, buried themselves in the course books, I took part time technician. I worked part time as a lab technician, and I also signed up in a theater in a theater class, and I spent lots of times, lots of numerous hours on rehearsals. And there was one time before my test, one day, and we had to rehearse a play, and we had been rehearsing till the late night, well into the night, and so I had no chance to prepare properly, prepare for the test properly. And when I slept only a couple hours, and everything mixed up in my head. And when professor asked me to tell the properties of oxygen properties, I, in response to his question, began to start recycling Shakespeare's sonnet. But he turned out to be a theater lover, and everything was okay. I passed that exam. And it is very surprising for me. I can't believe I never failed a single exam, and I can't help thinking a lot of professors gave me the higher grade than I deserved, higher grades than I deserved. So this university, I should say, this university made me feel very welcomed. Everything was different when I was a teenager. In my teenage years, I learned, attended several different elementary, middle, and high schools, because my parents have to move from state to state, and I never felt myself at home anywhere. So when I started school, I was very shy and socially awkward kid, and I was often bullied because I wore glasses and was very short. But I did well in class and got above average grades. I was good at maths and science, and so I was automatically considered as a nerd. And I was sometimes I skipped school because I want just to read a science book, and I didn't go to prom because I didn't have a date. And I was waiting. I couldn't wait to move on to the next stage of my education and to be enrolled in a university because I finished school with honors, but no regret, no friends and no regrets. And when I got a place in this university, I was very happy and excited when I got a, and but my parents couldn't were not able to pay tuition fees at full in full, so I applied for a scholarship, and I got a grant from a government fund, and for talented applicants. And at first I was enrolled in in a physical department, in the Department of Physics, but soon I understood that the chemistry was my favorite subject, was my passion, and so I dropped out of or physics, and dropped in on a chemistry class instead. Now, when I defended a thesis and got my master's degree, I am very proud that I am alone the graduates. I'm very and extremely proud to be one of today's graduates, and I have this time will be always in my heart. I have a special part in my heart, and so stick to your goals. Don't be afraid in experiment. No, don't be afraid to experiment. Work hard and make your own choices.